The key is like, obviously, we all know right now, is how do we raise that level of influence? How do we raise whenever someone says, how do we raise your leadership lid? How do we raise your level of awareness? Really what that simply means is what? Is how do we really grow your influence? That's why developing influence is so important. That's why that influence mastery workshop was so valuable. And what you want to realize is we've got to focus in on how to develop that influence ability. And the biggest and best way to do that is How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book is like the best there is on how to do that. And that's what we broke down in that leadership mastery workshop. But here's what I want to talk about real briefly about this. This is the most important thing for you to know where you are right now in your career about the law of influence. That's why it's so important to understand that as a leader, you have to realize the fact that what? Okay, that you are basically in a fishbowl. Leadership, it's about being in a fishbowl, meaning that whatever you do, everyone can see it. So right now, realize that even if you've only got one person on your team or two people on your team, it doesn't matter. Guess what? That's the people right now that's the beginning of your team. Your team's going to grow. But your people are going to do what you do, not what you say. That's why it's so important. You always talk about it. Why is it so important to be in the event? Right? Why do you need to be in the university? Why do you need to be in the overview, in the front, taking notes? Why is that so important? Because your people are going to do what you do, not what you say. That's the deal. So all you always have to do is lead by example. If you lead by example and you're always doing the right thing, the people that you influence are going to do the right thing. But you always see it. Every team, every market, every time I've been in the industry, you always see a handful of people that will, because of their attitude or whatever it might be, is they'll stop being in the meetings and they'll start hanging out outside. And those are the same people that they destroy their business. Why does their business get destroyed by that? Because their people don't see them in there. You guys say the people they influence don't see them in there. So now they're not getting the information. Right? I mean, it's so easy to do. I've done it my entire career, where I'll just sit in the front and I'll just sit there and nod my head like this, and everyone in the room is doing the exact same thing. Because I know that, guess what? Those people I influence. So they're just doing the exact same thing because I'm just in the front like this going, yes, 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 yes. Everybody does the same thing. And it can be the worst training ever. I had a gentleman right now and that Julian knows real well. This guy was my sponsor in a company that Julian's first company. Okay? This guy was my sponsor, and I didn't even know this guy. They just placed me under him. Right? Because they're like, this guy will help you out. Like, he'll help you set the meeting rooms up, and he'll help you, clean the office, and he'll help you, like, do stuff like that. I'm like, that's perfect. That's what I need, right? So I said, well, if I'm going to use this guy and he's going to make money off me, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the most out of him. So I started edifying him like a giant. Like, this guy's the biggest player on the industry, right? And every time he talked, it was terrible. It was just god-awful. But everyone loved it. Why? Because I acted like I loved it. Do you guys see that? So I'd be in the front and be like, yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, that's so good. That's the best ever. And everyone would come out and be like, oh my God, that was insane. But I'm like, no, you know what I mean? But then after, after I left that organization, we would all laugh because, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, dude, there's like two people that really believed, you know what I mean? Like afterwards, like, no, dude, that guy really is good, you know what I mean? So, but it's like, he's still trying to get to Star Builder. Do you guys get what I'm saying? And I was one of his teams. You guys get what I'm saying? But all I want you to realize is, guess what? People got a lot of information. He helped me carry the load. Why? Because of my ability to understand this law. Do you guys see that? My ability to understand this law clearly is why I was able to get that guy to help participate and to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So how do we do the law of influence? Let's take a look at it. Number one thing you got to realize is this. The power of influence lies in your ability to get people to participate. Yes. Okay, when you get people to participate, it's because of, guess what? If you're participating in something, people automatically want to be a part of it that are on your team because you influence them. Number two, for your notes, if no one is following, you're not a leader. So you have to realize we've got to work on developing that leadership skills. The thing I want you to understand is this. Sometimes you get bummed out, mainly when you get involved in business when you're new. And you're like, man, I'm just having troubles with this business and people aren't following me. Who cares? It's not where you are right now, it's where you're going. Stop worrying about that. Yeah. So many people, they have such little bitty thinking. They're like, and they think it's always going to be like that. Grow your leadership influence, and guess what happens? You'll become a great leader. Julian's a prime example. he would do, he would have his team meetings in my first company, and it would be like this. You guys ready to go? You know what I mean? Do you guys see what I'm saying? It was just him, right? It's like you picked your whole team up in your car. You know what I mean? What do you mean I came by myself? Exactly. You know what I mean? So what happened? He grew his influence. He grew his leadership. That's the thing. All you have to do is grow yourself. It's not where you are right now. It's where you're going. Yes. And that's true even if right now you're crushing it. Yeah. Right now you might be hitting home runs right out the gates. But guess what? It's not where you are, it's where you're going. Yeah. If you're not doing the right things, guess what? You're going backwards. Yeah. So you have to be on your toes, man. You got to always have a forward-leading motion. Management is part of being a leader. Just because you can manage something well doesn't mean you can lead. Big difference, okay? Understand that. Now, real quick, I want to touch on this. The 5 myths about leadership. The 5 myths about leadership. There's the management myth. Be aware of that, the management myth. Okay, that leading and managing are the same. Leadership is about influencing people to follow, while management focuses on maintaining systems and processes. Managers can maintain direction to move people. You need influence. The key is it's not about being a manager, it's about being an influencer. That's the magic. Okay, so it's not just because you're the management myth. Number 2 is called the entrepreneur myth. What's the entrepreneur myth say? Entrepreneurs are skilled at seeing opportunities and going after them, but not all of them are good with leading people with their vision. So an entrepreneur is somebody that can recognize something quickly and take action and make it happen. They're good at business. But just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean necessarily why, because and part of being an entrepreneur is being a major risk taker. And if you're too big of a risk taker, guess what happens? You're going to fall prey to the law of navigation. So we'll talk about that one today, so you understand that. That's the law of navigation. The reason why law of navigation is so hard to train is why? Because most people are optimistic. To be an entrepreneur, you got to be optimistic, but to be effective in the law of navigation, you've got to be optimistic, but you also have to be realistic. You have to say, wait a second, there are landmines there, and I have to make sure that I don't step on them, or the people that are following me can step on it. So being good at the law of navigation, that's the most important law, I believe. The next law is one of my favorites, though, man. I can't wait for you guys to learn the law process. But anyways, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Number 2. Whoa, calm down. Whoa, we're out of control. We're like on a out of control train. The knowledge myth, okay? Neither IQ nor education necessarily equates to leadership. That's obvious, right? I mean, we know some really smart people that can't influence anything. Do you guys see that? So, you know what I mean? Now realize what? Okay, how do you become good at something is a law of process, right? You're growing yourself, focusing in on and getting better, and getting better. That's the same thing that it takes to be successful at school, right? I mean, to become successful at school, to get good grades, what do you have to do? You have to show up, you have to participate, you have to, you know what I mean? You have to work hard. I mean, there's a formula for it, but that formula is the same in both areas, but doesn't mean just because you're really smart it means that you're very good at leading, okay? The pioneer myth, okay, being a trendsetter is not the same as being a leader. To be a leader, a person has to not only be out front, but also has to have people following his lead. So a lot of times people think, oh, I'm the pioneer, I'm the first one. Just because you're the first one doesn't mean that you're the leader. The position myth. Okay, the position myth. Leadership is based on rank or title. It's not the position that makes the leader, it's the leader that makes the position. It doesn't matter what your title is. I always laugh whenever I meet people that are so into titles because, like, dude, you're so, like, lame. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm you know what I mean? It's like, dude, don't worry, you know what I mean? I tell everybody, it's like, dude, it doesn't matter. Call me jerk, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's not about what you call me, it's about what I do for you in your life. Do you guys get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, it's about growing people. That's the deal. So watch how this works, okay? Whoa, did you see that? That's all you're going to get. No, I'm not going to just give you a sneak peek. Here we go. Here it is, the law. And we talked a little bit about this. This is in your notes as well. And John talked about it as well. Position, that's whenever you first get in, okay? Position, rights, people follow you because they have to, right? I mean, that's the lowest level of leadership. That's the worst place to be. Permission, okay? That's when you've really connected with people and built relationships, okay? People follow you because they want to. Okay, that's way better than this one, all right? Now, going from second to third is the key. Why? Because it's about production, results. People follow you, okay? People follow because of what you've done for the organization. That's huge. Then the people development one. This is where you want to get to immediately. It's all about mentoring and developing the people on your team, okay? People development. This is the reproduction level. This is the deal right here. People follow because of what you have done for them. That's the key, man. Grow your people. Grow your people. Sometimes, well, I grew this one guy and he ended up not making it in the business. So? Doesn't matter, man. I've grown people that I could probably list about 20 people that I've grown that have all became millionaires. So was it worth it? Yes. Do you see it? Doesn't matter, man. It's about just grow people. That's it. If you just focus in on growing and developing people, I'm telling you, your life will change. Why? Because you guys got to realize, if I had time to sit down and recruit everybody that wanted to be recruited right now, right, it would be ridiculous. People are hitting me up all the time that I've worked with before in the past. They're like, hey, when can we meet up? And like 2 people this week, just alone. When can we meet up? I'm like, bro, I don't even have time to eat breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even have time to even sleep. You know what I mean? So I don't have time to meet with you. But when I do, man, I'm telling you what, right now we're going to meet up. But it's because of reproducing people. And people know it's like, look, you get around certain people, you know your life is going to change. They're going to make you better. And then the pinnacle, very few people ever reach that. That's the pinnacle. That's the respect level. People follow because of what you represent. I mean, that's just like, man, that's ridiculous, okay? So let's talk about it, all right? And he talked a little bit about some of this stuff I'm going to go over. To really become effective in the law of influence, for your notes, you must be aware, true leadership cannot be awarded, appointed, or assigned. Let me say it again, for your notes. True leadership cannot be awarded, appointed, or assigned. You can't assign leadership. That's just silly, okay? All right, why? Because it comes from influence and cannot be mandated. You can't force influence on somebody. That doesn't make any sense, okay? Number 3 is what? It must be earned. You earn the influence. And how do you do that? We just talked about it. So those 5 levels. So obviously by now, you can see clearly how important that is. Real quickly, there it is. That was super quick. Here's where you guys gotta, this is out of control quick. Okay, here's what we want to remember. The law of influence. And John talked a little bit about it, but in 1981, Princess Diana became the most talked about person on the globe. Nearly 1 billion people watched the televised wedding from St. Paul's Cathedral. So what happened was this lady right here, Princess of Wales, she gets married, and 1 billion people watch it. I mean, it was already pretty big news. But what happened is in 1981, after that point, between 81 and 96, she just focuses in on being, on caring about people and serving people. She quickly starts serving people and growing her influence and becomes known as the people's princess. She helped so many people's lives. I mean, that's what's amazing about it, because of her humanitarian work. Here's a bunch of pictures. What's crazy, though, the craziest part is these pictures with her and Mother Teresa, because they died within 24 hours of each other. That's the part that's that's creepy. But, you know what I mean? I mean, they were just like some of the biggest humanitarians. They just want to go out and help people. She just took, instead of sitting back, you know what I mean, in a castle all day, she just went out there and served people. You know what I mean? She went out there and just help people. And as a result of that, her influence grew out of control, to the point where obviously the royal family was concerned, because she was so much more of an influencer than them. But what happened was, she just kept on doing it. Then what happened was, in 96, she got a divorce, okay? And then in 97, she died. So watch what happens, though. 96, August 28th, her divorce comes. So now she loses her title, but her influence continues. She still has that influence. Doesn't make a difference. And everybody's paying attention. And what happens was, in 97, she died as a result of injuries sustained in that accident on that port, whatever, that Pont de Alama, whatever, road tunnel in France. So I mean, I don't speak French, but here's what I do know. This is the biggest part. Her funeral on September 6th, the Princess of Wales public funeral, it drew over 3 million people came there. Okay, but 2.5 billion people watched. That's insane. And what's crazy is no one even talked about what was the worst part. Was this was so big that everyone overlooked Mother Teresa. You know what I mean? It's like, that's how big it was. It was like out of control. It was like no one was talking about, hey, Mother Teresa just died, and no one was mourning that because this was so damn popular. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, Jesus, like we're talking about Mother Teresa over here, guys. Pay attention. You know, no, people are blown away. All right, so hopefully you guys got that, right? I get too carried away with this little button thing. So here it is, okay? 6 factors that make a good leader, okay? Make a leader. Number 1, character, who they are. True leadership always begins with the inner person, okay? People can sense the depth of a person's character. You've got to have that character, okay? Relationships, all right? Number 2, relationships, who they know. Okay, with deep relationships with the right people, you can become a real leader in an organization. Number 3, knowledge, what they know. Information is vital. You need a grasp of the facts to develop accurate vision of the future. So you got to obviously learn. That's important, okay? Number 4, intuition. Very hard to teach that, right? But we're going to talk about it. What they feel. Leaders seek to recognize and influence intangibles such as energy, morale, timing, and momentum. Understand that energy, morale, timing, and momentum, those are intangibles. Right? I mean, how do you measure it? It's like when someone goes, how do you feel? I feel great. How do you measure that? Do you guys see that? So you got to realize that there's certain things that are that take intuition. How do you feel? It's about having that ability to feel. Number 5 is experience. Okay, where they've been. The greater your past challenges, the more likely followers will be willing to let you lead. So having success under your belt. Number 6 is ability, what they can do. The bottom line is followers want to know whether you can lead them to victory. Okay, as soon as they no longer believe you can deliver, they stop following it. So you've got to make sure you help people achieve success. That's why you want to learn the law of victory. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that.